Hey, Mubot, how you doing? There's no Mubot on the screen, but we gotta get Mubot back. I'll never give you this morning. If you are here, download Streamlabs chatbot. Well, let me download it now. This virus protection. I'm literally downloading this file like a billion times. And I try to open it before it like says like virus detected. Potential. Go to Windows security. Can I up? Windows security. Up. Cleaned items. Removed items. Oh my gosh, I found it. I found Mubot. Allowed items. Restored items. I am... Okay, what did I just do? I hope that was not a bad thing. Oh, what did I just click? I hope that wasn't just a bad thing. What did I just do? Oh my God. Noel, good to see you here. I might just clicked a bad thing. I'm gonna do a quick scan here. That's a quick scan. Oh. Is it that Mubot went away? He went away on 9:30, didn't he? He did go away on Monday. Good, that's when I clicked him, I think. I'll be back here in one moment. One moment. Okay. Let's see. No current threats. That's good. That's good. Let me download this again here. Virus detected. Yes. Download chatbot now. We're downloading chatbot again. We are so close, I think. Here we go. Windows security. Potential problem found. Severe. Okay. What is... Oh, it's just looking at it. Actions. Okay. Here we go. All right. Well, do we actually download it now? It's like fighting me. Allow. It registers him as a virus, which is weird to me. It's soft C NAP. This threat can perform a number of actions of malicious actor's choice on your device. It's literally like, and then like, it's literally multiple people saying like, I'll show it over here. So Windows Defender flagged soft cap for OBS Studios. I'm having the same issue. I'm able to start OBS on my computer. These flags are a virus. Search on my PC to found this. I'm just now seeing this when I start up Streamlabs chatbot. Seems like a recent update of Streamlabs inside OBS is flagged as a virus because many people are having issues today. Same for me coming from Streamlabs chatbot. My OBS is fine though. My Windows Defender is plugging chatbot file as being soft out. Chatbot was running fine. I believe Onk was what it was called before being renamed Streamlabs chatbot. So assume that the file that checks for bots. Same here. I have the same problem. Know the solution. I was also having the same problem with OBS not starting up this morning. Same thing happened to me. Same thing. Current Streamlabs chatbot Discord channel. This is from one of their volunteers. This is what's known as false positive. Chatbot does this in a way that some AV products don't like spawning sub-processes, which is common with malicious software. It's able to add the entire Streamlabs chatbot folder as well in the executable and exceptions for their AV software. It's like this is dangerous software. And then I think, I don't think I did anything bad here. I think this bottom one, wait, there was one more, but I think the one, I hope one of these was it's just crazy. We might have one more day without MuBot. I just did it, just broke. And I can't even download it because, here, watch, I'll show you. I gotta do the main screen. So I go download chatbot, which there's MuBot in the background right there. So it's downloading, and then virus detected. And then you go here to security, and it's and then I clicked that. It's scary, a bunch of things pop up. And then allow on device. And then it's not allowing it. Allow. This app was removed from the device. This program has potential unwanted behavior. And so that's what I'm dealing with in the background, where it's I'm protecting you. And I'm stop it. So unless MuBot's in the downloads folder or a version of MuBot, I don't know if it deleted all of MuBot. That's what I'm really afraid of, is it deleted. Yeah, and so I don't know. It's because I think the way it has to work is it does certain things that sometimes can be seen as malicious. But I think that's the issue it's having, is it's there are programs that do what it does and do it in malicious ways. So then I'm what permissions am I giving them on my computer? It makes me a little worried in the background. We live in a crazy world. It said something about starting sub-processes. But should we do some chapter 8 quiz or homework? We do the full chapter 8 homework right now. We could do data analytics. There's a lot of time for data analytics. I think it's due a week from today. Chapter 8 is basically chapter 7. So we could do that. What do people want to do right here? What should we do? Sorry about that. I really want to get MuBot working again. Which one should we do? Chapter 8 homework? Get it done? Chapter 8 homework's not that bad. Chapter 8 homework. Gonna be one more day without MuBot. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully. Last day without MuBot here. Do I still have the test open? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go over here to this. Over here. Noel, do you know who that is? I gave this test yesterday to my students, and I just want to know what % of students. It's especially the hair right there. The hair, I feel like the hair really gives away who that is. That right there is classic this guy. Someone else in the chat might know, but does anyone know who that is? I'm actually shocked by the % of people who don't know who it is. There's been young people and old people all alike who are I have no idea who that is. And I'm really? We'll see, and we'll start this question. We put it in the notes. Very shocked. That's all right. It's a lot of people didn't know. And I put it on a test, and you never want to do that. That's Freddie Mercury. So lead singer of Queen, Freddie Mercury, who'd often do that at a show. And so that's the meme of it. And there he is right there. There's Freddie Mercury. And even here, you can see like if we go back, you can see he's wearing the same jacket. And then here you can see, but it's like an iconic pose of his where he would do that. I think this one is a more full image of this one right here. So there we go right there. There, I think that, and you see the hairline, but that is, and look at the way his jacket's open right there. So if we go back in time right here, you can see, there it is right there. It might not be the exact same pose, but that is Freddie Mercury right there of Queen. And actually, I'm not even kidding. I just found the one they took it from. Not even kidding. So if we make this a little bit smaller and then we'll do the assignment right here. There it is right. That is, yeah, there you go. So yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure they took an exact picture and just turned it into a thing. But there is the verbatim picture of him. And I was just shocked that students didn't know. I'm like, Freddie Mercury! See that? I'm Rockship on my way to Mars on a collision course. Is that Queen? I should know Queen better. I think. Oh, hey! Good to see you, Dee in the chat. Is that a Queen song? But the amount of students who didn't know it's Queen, I was sad. Dee, I hope you're doing well. So, yep, I looked up and I was like, hey, we're going to do a little statistics. Mubot is broken. So, Dee, when I download the chatbot, it quarantined all the chatbot on my system. Don't stop me now. Yep. And then it quarantines it and it gets mad at me and I need to go around, and it literally removed my chatbot a few days ago. So gotta fix that. Isn't due for a while, and since we won't be in class on Tuesday, can we go over a little chapter 8? Let's do chapter 8. Let's do that. And I hope you're doing well over there. Awesome. Here we go, chapter 8. Let me put it in the notes. All right. He's still on vacation, Braden. He's still seen, he's got a virus, actually. Or he is a virus. Apparently. So Stat 201, chapter 8. I moved to Berlin. Yes! I wasn't going to say where you, I know you were in Germany. I wasn't going to say it because I don't know how much you want me to say, but that is awesome. Congratulations. Well, I knew you were in Germany. I didn't know if you like made, and you went over there. So I guess officially, but that is such good news. So congratulations to Dee right there. Chapter 8, question 1. Let's do it right here. A concert production company examined its records. The manager made the following scatter plot. What kind of variables are needed for a scatter plot? What kind of variables are needed for a scatter plot? And Braden and Noel and Dee, good to see everyone here. What kind of variables are needed for a scatter plot? What kind of variables are needed for a scatter plot? No thoughts? Quantitative. Great job, Brain, right there. Mubot will give you points when he's back. And if you look right here, the red data has more scatter, which means a lower R squared, also a lower R. And the blue data is a little bit tighter, which means it probably has a higher R squared and R, which is percent of variation explained. So in your right QQ, 2 quantitative variables, let's see what they ask. So they're going to ask us the following. Describe the relationship. Do you think these are weak or strong? Weak or strong? So go in one direction. Do you think they're weak or strong? Do you think they're weak or strong? Weak or strong? What do you think? Weak or strong? Weak or strong? They do have a bit of high variance. They do. And I would probably say they're moderate. I might go moderate. And if you look just at the blue one, they are being tricky right here. It'd be cool if we had some summary statistics values on this. But if you look just at the blue one, it does look a little bit stronger. And it is high variance, I do agree. It's not the best data. If we look just at the blue one, which had like a point there, I'd say it's moderate, but it's definitely positive, right? So I think we've narrowed it down to this and to this. There's one outlier that stands apart from the majority of the data. Does anyone see a big outlier on the far side? Does anyone see a big outlier on the far side of the data? Does anyone see a big I'm just going to draw one line. Yeah. So that kind of clues us in right there. That's probably when you use subjective words. Like it's more moderate. If we had to go weak or strong, so I'm pretty sure they're going for this, that it is positive. We know it's positive. It's moderate-ish. We could give it a value of correlation of like 0.5, 0.6, or maybe 0.4, and that would describe it. But going off of that, the one outlier kind of gives it away. How are the two venues similar? Let's think right here. What is the direction and what does that mean for talent and cost? Venues that have a higher talent cost generally have a what revenue? Venues that have a higher talent cost generally have a water revenue. Venues that have a higher talent cost generally have a water revenue. Like we drew this earlier on them. Higher. So there's a positive relationship to both of them. So both venues show that higher talent cost causes a bad word in this class. That's a bad word. Both venues show an increase in revenue with talent costs. Positive relationship. I want to pause right there because correlation is never causation, or at least we can't deduce that just from a correlation. So the word cause right there was a landmine for me where I was like, we can't say cause. There's an association between venues that have higher talent cost generally have higher revenue. If the outlier was not there, would it be lower? No, and good questions, Noel. It still is a positive relationship even without the one outlier. And what you would do is you would let statistical software go in and delete the outlier, and then you would add the line to it. And we could add an overall trend line to this. The overall trend line right here is still probably going positive if you look at the data. So looking through the data, even without the one outlier, there's still a positive relationship. The outlier is maybe just pulling it a little further up, which we don't like outliers because they can drastically change the nature of relationships. Why is that an outlier? Good question. And that becomes, is it a univariate or bivariate outlier? So it's definitely a univariate outlier in both ways. So with this right here, and I wish we had the actual data because then we could see its leverage and we could also see its studentized residuals. The issue we run into right now is what we'd want to see in advanced statistics, and this is such a great question, is we'd want to see a line without the point and a line with the point. Now the reason, exactly, the more, and this is a really good question, and this is its residual, and this is what we call its deleted residual. A deleted residual is when we remove the point's influence, or actually that is its residual, and the yellow one is its deleted residual. Now for 201 especially, a residual is just how much the model what's the point by. A residual, either one of those, which is called E, is how much the model what's the point by. So that's actual minus predicted. Residual equals actual minus predicted, which the actual is the dot itself, and the predicted comes from a model. So what is a residual? A residual is how much we miss the point by. How far away the actual is from the predicted. Exactly. Residual equals actual minus predicted. And so what I'm showing here is a little bit more advanced, and it's a way to tell its influence on the line. No, thank you, Dee. No, it's really good questions. And I always like doing the slightly more advanced stuff because we have answers to questions about why is that point an outlier? Well, it's going to pull the line towards it, but then if you remove the point, the line's going to settle back down. And thank you right there, Braden, too. So residuals tell us how far away something is from the model, and this is definitely a univariate outlier because the cost is extremely high. And this is definitely a univariate outlier over here because it has very high total revenue. So in the sense of the univariate world, one variable only, it's extreme on its distribution. It'd be way over there on both distributions of cost and revenue. Bivariate outlier, you have to make cases with things like deleted residual, and it's a little harder to tell. Our best examples on the test of QQ straight enough, no outliers, plot doesn't thicken, are going to be something that look like this. Clearly there's a what to this relationship. All I want is one word right here. Clearly there's a what. Points at the top. Why are the other points at the top on red, not outliers? Good question. And that's an outlier. Let me see it again. So why are the other points? And so they are a bit. And I'm going to show one last thing right here. And then I'll finish this question because it's a really good question here. So what you're going to see right here is predicting the price of a diamond from how many carats it has. And with this right here, we're going to fit the model. And then what we'd want to know is how big of an outlier something is. How can we figure out how far away things are from the line? We don't just find a residual, we make a what? How can we look at all the residuals at one time to figure out how far things are away? And this is why I wish I had the data and then I could run it. Instead of looking at a residual, we make a what? Instead of looking at a residual, we make a what? So instead of just looking at one residual, we make a what? Instead of looking at one residual, we make a, the answer's over there on the far side of the screen. So instead of looking at one residual, we make a what? What is this called? Plot the residuals. And now we can see the most extreme residuals are up here. I'm going to go to rows, and I'm going to go to colors, color them a nice light purple, and then go to rows and markers and put markers right here. So what I'm doing is I'm marking the most extreme. The most extreme negative, which are below the line, are going to be marked in blue or teal. I'll go blue. And then they're also going to have a star. And you can see them up here in the original plot now, and you can see the things that are the biggest outliers from the model. So fitting the line is going to make it easier to see this. And then on top of that, you can see the most negative residuals now and the most positive. And the residual plot is going to let me clearly figure that out, and I can see the non-linearity and also the plot thickening with the residual plot. QQ straight enough, no outliers, plot doesn't thicken, the 4 conditions we checked to make sure we're doing a valid regression. So really good questions right there. Unfortunately, they didn't fit the lines to this data, and I don't have the ability to analyze it with statistical software. And so how are the two venues different? There's less of a spread to the blue venue. So the larger venue has greater variability, making it easier or harder to predict. Now, this is a really good one. So the larger venue, which is in red, would it be easier or harder to predict because it has more variability? So think theoretically right here, if the larger venue has more variability, does that make it easier or harder to predict than the blue one, which has less variability? So the larger venue has more variability in its prices, like more variability in the Y. So would it be easier or harder to predict? I know that we're close to. Ooh, that's a really good question. It would actually make it harder. So imagine this. I'm going to answer Didi's question next then. No, good question. So if, let's say every night your friend makes mac and cheese. Every night your friend makes mac and cheese. What do you think they're going to make tonight? So every night they make mac and cheese. Last night they made mac and cheese. The night before they made mac and cheese. They're the mac and cheese. They're going to make mac and cheese, right? So there'd be no variability in what they're making. There's no variability. Every night they make mac and cheese. Now they could surprise you and you could be wrong and you could have a residual because of an error in what you predicted. But tonight you're going to predict they make mac and cheese. So they have no variability, so they're very hard or easy to predict. They have no variability, so they're very hard or easy to predict what they're going to do. So they have no variability, so they're very harder. They'd be very easy to predict because you're like, well, they make mac and cheese every night. Tacos would be an outlier, an unusual occurrence. So your friend who makes mac and cheese every night is going to be very predictable, where the data right here, the blue points have less variability. So because of that, I'd probably be certain that a point that we don't have could be over here, where the red data has more variability. So it's going to be harder to predict where the red point is at if there's a new red point we don't have information on. So notice how the ellipse of the blue is in a tighter range. It could be a surprise, but someone who's predictable or has less variability is more easy to predict. More easier? I don't grammar. And then so this would mean since the larger venue has more variability, they're going to be harder to predict. I was waiting to get it wrong. And then to the question right here, how do we know that the other points aren't close to a freak phenomenon and the outliers actually follow a popular trend? So this is a really good question because what you run into is lack of data means lack of knowledge. Is this point over here an outlier? according to everything we know about statistics right now, is that point over there an outlier? We'll draw the line, and the line would have to bend down towards it like that. So that point is definitely an outlier. But here's what we might not know. And this is where lack of data is lack of knowledge. What we might not know is that there is a non-what trend to the data if we actually had more data. There might be a non-what trend to the data because we don't have all the information. It turns out maybe the true relationship is a very non-what trend. Non-linear, exactly. So it might not be an outlier. It might actually perfectly follow the trend the data has, but with our lack of knowledge, we think, at least to start, that the start of the data has a linear trend, and this is where you get into QQ straight enough. This is a straight enough thing right here. So what you want around your x's is a lot of data. So this is where we know our data. That's where we know it best. This is where we have no knowledge. So this is where we're very confused. And this is where we have little knowledge. Like, we have very little knowledge. So the more data you have, the better you understand where your model should be going through. And what you really want is a good model. The line will be going through the center of the points. So a huge problem you run into, especially this, is in statistical tests, people don't use a middle point, especially if they're doing tests like this. And what could be the truth is there could be a non-linear. So this goes into process control where people don't run middle points. And if you had ran a middle point, you'd see the non-linear relationship. But without the middle point between like a high and low, you can't see what's going on. So one point is usually not enough to figure out a trend from. Usually we want more data. So you could be right. How do we know if it's an outlier or a trend we are not capturing? Get more data. That's the best way. And then problem is if we don't have the data, we don't know. But no, that's really good. I love the theoretical stuff. It's actually some of my favorite things. So please ask more theoretical questions, because I want people to know that there's so much more to know in stats than what we just teach in 201. Thank you. There's just a lot of topics that we kind of open up and then we never completely do, because even I don't know everything. Noting a recent study predicting the increase in cell phone costs, a friend marks that by the time he's a grandfather, no one will be able to afford to sell a phone. Explain where he thinks what his thinking went awry. You know what's funny? I actually put a meme on this on the 320 test related to this, and here it is right here. So it's the same meme. Okay, why is that woman scowling at me? Do I know her? If she loves you more each and every day, by linear regression, she hated you before she met you. So this person is doing what right here to their model? So think about this. It says, if she loved you more each and every day, then she hated you before she met you. So you look at the love of a person right here, and then days since knowing them. And she loves you more and more each day. Well, technically it'd have to go up like that. So the problem is they're whatting the model. There's day zero. They're whatting the model where data does not exist. They are whatting the model. So we'll add in some points right here that we don't have data for. That's hate down there. What is the keyword I'm looking for? So you only know someone at day zero. So they're whatting their model. So data starts at day zero. I'm looking for a keyword, which is also probably in the answer. We'll see. You only know someone when you meet them. Extrapolating, exactly. They're extrapolating to where they don't have data. And the way to remember extrapolating is you're doing it on the x-axis, extrapolating. So you're extrapolating to where you don't have data, and your friend is doing the same thing with cell phones because he notices the price of cell phones, and he's like, okay, it's just going to go through the roof, but you only have data up to this point right here, and you're extrapolating into an area where you don't have data. You can extrapolate just outside the range of your x's. That's how extrapolation works. Ooh, is it? I'm going to, the XQC? Yes, actually, I also had this one. No joke. DD, check this out. That one was on their practice test. Let me go to the practice test. So where is the practice test? Practice test. Yeah. Test prep. That's not right. Oh, well. I'd put this one. Let me go show it right here. This was on the 3, and actually I didn't even put this nice of a version of it. As you can see, by late next month, you'll have over 4 dozen husbands. Better get ready to buy bulk wedding cakes. So yesterday, today, and extrapolating into the future. And so clearly they're figuring out a trend from only 2 points. So yes, extrapolating, don't do it. It's bad. And we see right here, does it even say extrapolate? Oh, he's extrapolating. I'm not even gonna read the rest of it. This is extrapolation. So we wouldn't really understand the trend going forward. It's extrapolation. And Noel and Braden, let me know if you got questions, and keep those questions coming too, Didi. Here we are with question number 3. Question number 3. We're gonna get the full homework done. Question number 3 is at 31, 4 to 3. We get to review the idea of extrapolation. Question 3. Using data from 20 compact cars, the consumer company wants to predict the stopping time for a vehicle by using its weight. You consider using this model to predict a large SUV. So they trained this data or learned from compact cars. Don't read their answers. You want to think, what is wrong with this? So they're going to predict an SUV, and they're going to predict its stopping time. Just explain to me kind of conceptually, what is wrong if you learn from compact cars and you want to predict on an SUV, and you are learning from the weight of a car is your X, and you want to predict stopping time. So stopping time is your Y variable. Notice how we've marked different things in here to tell us what we're doing. Our data is collected from, as in we have rows of data right here with 20 different cars. And then we're going to make a prediction on a car that is an SUV. Don't look at their answers. Just think theoretically why this would not be a good idea. Compact cars weigh less, meaning exactly. So we'd probably have our data down here, and stopping time would have to increase, and our model would only go to there, and the SUVs over here. We don't know if there's like a non-linear relationship. So this is a bad idea because compact cars are not representative of SUVs, and they weigh a lot less, so we're not going to have data to be able to understand what's going on. This is not advised because the model has insufficient. Nope. This is not advised because the model predicts compact cars. The SUV is not a compact car, so the model's predictions are not reliable. That looks good. Okay, good. I wanted to read them all, and then I was like, just go for the answer. Looks good. Looks like what we said, right? Because compact cars are not representative of SUVs, so we can't use that model. Okay, we're rocking and rolling. And good morning, Kelsey. Good to see you there. We're on question number 4 of chapter 8, homework. And here we are with another regression model. Okay, I need you to tell me in a statistical formula what this is. You do get a formula sheet on the test, but I want you right now to tell me how to mark this. What I'm asking you to do is tell me the general form of the regression equation. I want you to tell me the general form of the regression equation. What are these things? This is really good practice. You should know what each one of those values are when you see them. And I'll tell you what they are again, but try to see if you can do it. What are those values? What do they mean? What are they good for? I'll draw some things over here to help us out. And I think that should be good. What are those things? I'm giving hints. It is linear regression. What else? What else we got? Good answers so far. Yes. No, great job, Noel, right there. And great job, DD, too. So the predicted means it comes from the line itself. So I've got a little bit of color coding here to help out. Yeah, and then that is the more mathematical way of doing it. And it's just, we switch up, and I'll explain why right here by writing it out. If we do what's called multiple regression, we will have right here the predicted value of y. So the difference between y and y hat is y is the actual value, which would be a DOT. Like that is where y is actually at. If you were to trace over there, that's where it's actually at. And the y hat is the predicted from the regression line, which is going to be what I've highlighted here in orange. So the y hat is the predicted value of y, where the actual dots are the value of y. And then we have equals b0, which is the intercept. A good way to remember it is when x is equal to 0, we expect y to equal b0, plus b1. For each 1 unit increase in x, we expect y to increase by b1. That is the slope coefficient, and then the name of the x. Now, sometimes you'll see this in multiple regression. So if we were to go into the future of statistics, where you learn more stats, what you would see right here is we would go over here, and we would say this is called x1 plus b2 x2. So that's if we have two x's in the model. What do you think the third x with its coefficient would be called? What do you think the third x, and this is what's called multiple regression with multiple x's, where each x has its own coefficient and each x is called x this. Like the first x in the model, the second x in the model, what do you think we'd call the third x with its coefficient? Because maybe we don't predict exactly b3x3. And this is multiple regression. We don't cover it in the class, but multiple regression, and they could have b4x4, is if you had multiple x's, like you predict the price of a car from its weight in miles per gallon. Great job right there, Noel and DD. So all these different things right there would be able to make predictions for us if we have more x's in the model than just one x. And nothing wrong with the y equals mx plus c. More of a algebra way of doing things, which is perfectly fine. So with this right here, I've kind of color-coded this. We know what we're seeing. We're seeing a regression equation, and now we can use some of the information. Here's the model right here. It has a positive slope, as we saw. There's no data down here. There's no data over there. The intercept has no data around it. Also, the intercept is negative, meaning when ticket sales are equal to 0, I expect, or I predict total revenue to be negative 4,314. That might actually make sense, because maybe that means we're losing money. We also have no data, so it's an extrapolation of the model. Then we have, for each additional ticket sale, I expect total revenue to increase by 29.56. Let's see what they want us to do here. Those were interpretations of slope and intercept. They are doing a 10,000 person venue. What is the predicted sale or revenue? So I know people got this. Just tell me what to do. They are doing a 10,000 person seat venue. What is the predicted revenue? How do we do it? Tell me what to do. I'm kind of doing it, but just... Exactly. Just plug in, right? Yep. Plug it in. Just, and then it solves. All it's doing is going to the line, going to where 10,000 is at, and telling you the prediction on the line right there. So it's telling you the predicted revenue when we have this X value right here. For this X value, what is the predicted revenue? And so it's not what they actually made, it's a prediction from the line. So we just plug in the values over here, 10,000 times 29.56 minus 4314. And there it is right there, predicted revenue to the nearest decimal. That should be right. But what do you notice about this? Tell me what you see. What do you see about this? For once, I'm going to zoom out. What do you notice about 10,000? Third time's the charm. What do you notice about 10,000? Not quite close enough. It's not on the graph. So what are we doing? Keyword you should know. We are doing what again? This is just another question about whatting. This is another question about whatting your model. Because you have your data contained within the following range. This is the scope of your X. It's the min to the maximum value. How far does it go? The range or the scope sets how far it goes. And anything you are predicting, can you do a practical example? See how much it would, will the bank at 2%? Oh yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. Well, I like that. We will do that. And I'll show you something really cool. I'm going to show something really cool at the end of this. So stay tuned. This is extrapolating down here. Make sure to know the keyword extrapolating. And this is extrapolating outside of here. Because if you're outside the scope of your X, you're extrapolating. Would the points we were given be a sample technically? Yes, this is sample data. This is your sample data, and you're outside what you know, and you're extrapolating the model to areas where you don't have data. So that's an extrapolation of the model. And there it is. An extrapolation this far is not reliable. I think we have two more. Then we're gonna do some predictions right here, and I'm gonna show you something super cool. So stay tuned. We're gonna do a little AI at the end because I love some AI, and I wish I had the one I had made. I made some really cool stuff right here. So let's look at this question. We're gonna do some AI to end because I absolutely love using AI. It's a problem these days. And so I'll show you we'll talk investments and money because that's, I think, something very important for students too. There is a strong correlation between the temperature and the number of skinned knees on a playground. Does this tell us that weather causes children to trip? So let me know right here. What is a bad word? Kind of. Yes, you can extrapolate on the low side or the high side. So if you're outside where your data's at, technically you can extrapolate in the middle, but we don't. It's just the further you are away from your model, the more you're extrapolating. So if you don't have data, your model has to extrapolate, go beyond the x's. So we call it an extrapolation. When your model makes predictions outside the bounds or where you don't have data within the bounds of the x's. What is a bad word in statistics? Will, prove, no. What is another bad word in statistics? Will is a bad word. Like this will happen. This proves this happens. We know this will happen. Cause. We don't like to say cause in statistics. Bad word. So causes, because correlation is never causation. No. Warm weather. No. In warm weather, more children will go outside to play. And that's kind of explaining what we see with the data. But also we don't like to use the word cause. So what we have right here is shark attacks and ice cream sale. Let me mark this, and then we're going to do a little AI to end. Nicolas Cage and shark attacks. Exactly. Well, there's the famous one I showed last class, which I still have downloaded. So office hours people haven't seen this yet. We got a Nick Cage one coming up right here. If you were in my class, you got to see this. So give me 2 seconds. I'll pull up the notes that have it. So I got to go grab those notes really quick. And download. Oh, that's documents. Here we go. Okay, so you're about to see some Nick Cage. And here it is right here. It does relate to a sad matter, so just in case you want to hear sad things, it's Nicolas Cage's fault, though. So here is the correlation. And Nick Cage knows the pain right there. He feels what he's done. The correlation between Nick Cage and drowning in swimming pools. And the correlation, oh my gosh, it's 666. That's, uh-oh. The correlation is 666. I'm just repeat that.
The correlation is 666.
There you go. This lady doesn't know the danger she's in. If she was near a swimming pool and Nick Cage at the same time, bad choices. This is actually what we might just call a spurious correlation. Braden, I like that, Braden. That actually is his face. No joke. Braden literally... It literally is his face in this instance. And that's probably like 2010 Nick Cage right there. This picture is so old right there. That is twins right there with Nick Cage. That is, I've had 3 or 4 drinks on this plane, Nick Cage. That lady was like, "You're Nick Cage, can I take a picture with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." She's pulling out her camera. He's like, hey. I wonder if he knew that picture of him would be forever seen in our classes. One of my other favorite incidents right here in Shark Attacks was mentioned. Shark attacks and ice cream sales. So the keynote you need to have right here is, what is a lurking variable? That's going to be the answer to the question. So shark attacks and ice cream sales are highly correlated. Is it because sharks love the taste of ice cream? Or when you get bit by a shark, you want to go get ice cream? Well, it's not as simple as that. It's because a lurking variable is not the X, it's not the Y. And I always think to the textbook I first saw this in, it called it a Z variable. Because it might look like shark attacks. So shark attacks is ice cream and blood equals. Apparently, Braden. And shark attacks might look like they're connected to ice cream and vice versa, but it's actually another, and it's weather. Weather is actually what connects them. So the actual connection between these is weather, because it may look like shark attacks are increasing ice cream sales, or it might look like ice cream sales are increasing shark attacks. But in truth, at least by the way we know the world works, people, when it's warmer, go out and get more ice cream. People, when it's warmer, go out and more sharks get attacking people. So because of the lurking variable, the one that is not the X or the Y, the two variables look like they have a connection. Have you ever heard of Reddit? Famous website. So lurkers are people who aren't engaging in the conversation, but they're there. So a lurking variable is not in the model. It's not part of your y hat equals b0 plus b1x. It's a z variable that is outside the model that is actually related to these. And there are ways to control for this with multiple regression. Just add the lurking variable to the model. So we actually alluded to this earlier. We talked about multiple regression just briefly. And if you have a problem with the lurking variable, the best way to deal with it is to add it to the model. And the explanatory variable is the x, the y is the response, the lurking variable is a z that is outside the model. And that's got it. We're gonna do a little chat GPT here. So let me load up chat GPT. And a really good question. So what I like to do is I like to make Shiny apps. So let me put this in the notes. Start now, free chat GPT. So here is what you can do really quickly with code. Be a really good, we got chapter 6 done. Investing your money early. Someone's gonna see this and be like, investing your money early, what? Okay, so the question, I'm gonna take it a little bit different of a way and say, make a Shiny app in R for me that does the following. Allows me to enter in how much money I am currently investing. Allows me to enter in the percent return I am getting. Allows me to enter in a yearly investment I add each year. Returns to me a graphic showing the investment over a set number of years and how much it is growing. Make all these plots with ggplots and Plotly. Make the app look super cool and be impressive. Okay, I'll also use Shiny widgets. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, the funniest episode of Futurama? Yes. All right, let me see which one this is as this works on this. A fish full of dollars. Yeah, actually, this might be one of my favorites. Oh, it's season 1? Okay, my favorite is the one where, it is the one where Fry goes in and he finds out he has all the money, right? So Fry goes into, he goes in and he's like, they're like, you have $50 million. And he's like, what? Because he's like, I had $3, such and such, such and such. And I did say for we can enter in the years, right? Allows me to enter in the investment is over 7 years, how much is growing. Okay. It might, hopefully we have a year entry. Yeah. How many years? Oh, it wants max 50. Pfft, we're not letting it do a max of 50. We're going to just have no max. Okay. And it's a slider. Okay. Well, let's check this out. Copy code. Might work. Let me load up RStudio. Okay. Loading up RStudio. My favorite episode of Futurama is the one where I think they're all rich, yeah, because they all get like their tax return or something, and Fry ends up drinking like 100 cups of coffee, and at the end he reaches like a Zen state, and he sees like a hummingbird flapping, and he just like walks over to him and like smiles, and then he like saves everyone from a huge fire. I actually got to meet Billy West recently. Does Zoidberg, pretty sure he does Zoidberg. He does Fry, he does Doug. Yeah, it was really nice. I was like, I got to meet him. Okay, I think we got it. We're gonna fix this. Calculate. There we go. So, and I can see after 20 years. Okay, so this is an initial investment of $10,000. Every year you're putting in $2,000, and your rate of return is 5%. Mine is the one where Fry moves. Oh, that is such a good one. Is it the one where he has the holophone? That's a really good one. The one where he writes the songs. Yeah, I do. That's the end of one of the series. The series ended on one of those where he it's really good. The Devil's Hands is one of those. There's one where he like learns how to play the holophone because he gets the Devil's Hands, and then at the end of it he's like practicing, and he like, yeah, both are series endings. Oh, well, they're good about putting good series endings. Well, here's the thing. Both are. Yep. And watch this. We need to change our slider. So we've got, if you look at what we've just been able to do, he goes 1,000 years in the future, right? So you could go right here and say like, so you notice right here, number of years, good. Slider. I should not have a slider though. We don't want a slider because we can go 1,000 years in the future. If Fry had $5 in there, 1,000 years in the future. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, Didi, this is real. This is real. That's 7.7. Wait, do you have like $1 in there? How much money did he have? I mean, that's quadrillion dollars, I think. Million is 6, billion, million, billion, million 6, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion. That's $1.56 trillion with $1 at 1,000 years. Man, I wish we could all. He had 93 cents. Yeah. And then how much money total did he have? Because you bring it down here like a 2% interest rate. He still has $370 million with 93 cents and a 2% interest rate. He has $370 million. 4.5 billion at the end. How accurate were they in their calculation? So it looks like, well, that's more than billion. He had like a 2.5 interest rate. 2.25? Okay, then we don't want slider inputs. So let me say update. I could just remember the input things. Update all the inputs so that they aren't sliders, and I can put in numeric values for them. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty accurate. Like I was saying about a 2.5. They actually did the math on it, which is, it's just a formula. So, you know, it's just going to update to numeric inputs. I probably could have done that too, but it's just so much easier to get AI to do it for me. It's like if I know what I want, and there's a lot of things that have already done this. So, and then we've got the color right there. That is black, I believe. They're all mathematical. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice and neat that you can get this all done. And then is that the creation of the graphic? No, that's just there. Yeah, this is a render plotly. It's creation of the graphic. There's the ggplot, which we'll put inside the plotly. Also, be careful using AI when the AI output. AI can hallucinate. You are totally right. And also for us, especially as educators, we have to be careful of FERPA, which is the Federal Education Student Protection Act, family and all that good stuff, where we don't want to put in anything that we shouldn't put in there. 2.25 and 93 cents. And yearly contribution, we're not going to be putting in. And we go here and we calculate. And there you go. You said it was, he had in 4.5 billion. It's about right. There it is, because to the 9, e to the plus 9 is, so it says 4.28 billion. So maybe he had gone a little bit through. Maybe it was, but no, that's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. 4.3, was it 4.3 billion he had? Yeah, 4.3 billion. Well, there you go. $4.3 billion with 93 cents. Someone at Futurama was thinking of some math. And if you go and think, if you try to, oh, it does, then they did it right. Rounded correctly, it's 4.3 billion. Well, that's awesome. If you think, because you can get a bank account, you can get a return on your investment about 3 or 4%, not bad these days. And if you go, they are, right? And if you go and invest to start right now $5,000, and then every year you say, I'm going to put in $5,000. At the end of 20 years, you're going to have $160,000. If you really just say, I'm going a little bit more extreme here and putting in $1,000 every month, $1,000 every month, oof, that's really good. It's 20 years. That's going to be $1/3 of $1 million. And it really takes off the longer you go, especially if you go towards retirement. Now you have $1 million at retirement. And you might say, but isn't 40 years, your money, 40 years times 12 times 1,000? If you look at that, and your initial investment was nothing then, you're getting 2.2 times your money. And what really matters most, and watch this, what you're really going to see right here is the initial investment. If you just had like $100,000 right now, you could, I mean, I wish I had that to just throw into here. Now you look at this. Now your $100,000 that you put in initially, increase this another 500,000. So you're getting 5 times on that initial investment. That's the compounding interest right there. So it's really a jump at the start right there. And so, investment over time is what matters, and starting early. That's why they say, in your 20s and 30s, you get your most growth on your investment. You put money in, you put your savings in, you start saving over time and having those initial investments, especially as a kid. If you just said, if my parents had me, and I wish my parents had me, I drained my bank accounts when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I'd take in my $500 and I said, every year I'm going to put in another 500. And I started doing this when I was 8 years old. By the time I was 22, is that all I'd have? That's not bad. I wish I had more. What do you think about a parent saving for college for their kid? So you could also have this back work it to see how much you'd need to save. Put in $1,000 a year, initial investment of $5,000. And now you've got $35,000 saved for your student for college. $3,000 a year. That probably would do it. That's a lot of, especially in states and stuff like that. So if you were to save $3,000 a year in an account and put an initial $5,000, as your child grows up, you'd have $90,000 in the account by the time they reach college age. So, and then you think of your money. Well, the money itself would have been $5,000 plus the 3 times. So it would have been, you're getting a good bit of return, but yeah, 59,000, is that correct? So you're getting an extra 20, almost 30,000 on it, 27, 28,000. There you go. Of course, then if you leave that money in and say you can have it when you retire, then you've got $500,000. So when you start to see this, whoop. Anyways, we'll be back here next week. This is it for this week. Dee Dee, good seeing you. Noel, good seeing you. Braden, good seeing you. We had other people swing by. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.